When you need to know what's happening right here in the Merrimack Valley, the only place to turn is 980 WCAP. Everybody gets it.
Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients using various Internet marketing techniques and methods. The purpose of this show is to bring on a couple of subject matter experts in the first two sections, and in the third section I will give you some tips. The subject matter experts are designed to tell you how they got from where they were to where they are, and in hearing that, you will hopefully cut down your learning curve, and then also you might be able to avail yourself of some of their services. Our first guest today is Melanie Benson, who is America's leading small business optimizer. She helps creative, fast-paced business owners and entrepreneurs achieve their next level of success without overwhelm, which is very important. Good morning, Melanie.
Good morning.
Where you calling in from?
Well, it's the wee hours of the Southern California area here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just outside of LA.
Ah, good for you. We're up here in the Northeast, and we just had all sorts of wind and rain, and towers and internets are down. And,
oh, no.
Yeah,
You got your winter started.
Yep, and it's funny because as a business owner, I had to now I had my backup, which was a data plan and a hotspot off my phone, but the towers got hit from my telephone carrier too. So, I was out for like an hour and a half, so...
That's when you got to get creative and resourceful, right?
Yep, and that's when I figured I'd just do the laundry and get caught up later, right?
Perfect plan.
Actually, I got in the car and I just put my laptop together. I got in the car, I drove to Dunkin' Donuts, I grabbed a cup of coffee, and I just started working there and using their internet.
Very clever.
Yep. So tell us, the intro I gave was very small. I've talked to you, I've met you. We met at JVX and probably other places as well when I was out in Freeport, California not too long ago. And I'm definitely convinced of what you do, your value and benefits that you provide people. But could you give the listeners a little a bigger, broader view of who you are and what you do?
I'd be happy to. Well, I've been working with entrepreneurs for 16 years now, and what I find is that we can have a great game plan, we can have strategies that work, and we can have actions that we know we should take. But I got very curious when I realized that over and over and over again, the clients I worked with who are really smart, super capable, they seem to fall into these procrastination traps, or they get paralyzed by fear, or their doubts would cause them to maybe not set their vision and their goals as high as I could see for them. And what I realize is that, we're all in some kind of a mindset that is influencing our results, our money results, our goals, what we can and can't do. And so I started my business to help people learn how to create more of a lifestyle business using leverage. And I still teach all of that. Have been doing that for over 16 years, but in the last 6 years, what I realize is that if we don't have the right mindset, we cannot become an industry leader. We're going to hold back from positioning ourselves as an authority, which is exactly what people need to see from you if they're going to hire you or buy your products and services. So I now also help entrepreneurs really achieve what I call like a peak performance mindset state that turns them into an unstoppable, excited and inspired entrepreneur who can conquer those big dreams and whatever that means to you, right? Everybody's got a little bit different vision, but that's what I do. And I work with entrepreneurs, thought leaders. I tend to work a lot with people who have some kind of a subject matter expert, but they're having trouble really kind of getting the momentum that they thought they would, and it's taking way longer than they wanted to get the level of success they desire.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's so needed too, because I can't tell you how many clients I work with, business owners and entrepreneurs, and some of them are just starting out. Some of them have been in business for a while and that they're achieving some success and they want to take it to the next level, and some are having a significant success and know that they can, 3 or 4x their income and the people they serve. So I see a broad spectrum of people, but one current thing that I see is that every single one of them can use your service at different levels and different intensity, but just about everybody could use what you were just talking about.
Thanks. Yeah, I think of it like a toolbox. We all have our toolbox, and some of us know we have a hammer and a screwdriver, and we're really clear how to use those tools. But most everybody, no matter where we're at in our trajectory, whether we're already achieving a lot but maybe could do it in a more effective, sustainable way without burning out, and some people are really struggling to get past those fears and doubts, and they just don't have the same tools. But what I find is if we know how to use all the tools in our toolbox, we can perform better, longer, faster. And not everybody wants to be faster, but some people are, their train is going pretty slow. And that's when I think the confidence issues kick in a lot, Ron, is you see it going so slow and you see your peers going faster and you think, why is this not working faster for me? And it can kind of weigh on your confidence a little bit. And after a while, we repeat these patterns of, well, I must not be good at this, I must not be good at this, instead of, training our brain for, I'm good at this, right? Like we're always training our mind by the thoughts we're repeating over and over and over again.
Yeah, so true. Again, and and I think, like you said, confidence is huge. But if we compare ourselves to our I wouldn't say our competition, because I've gotten to a point where I don't see even people who do similar services that I do. I don't see them as competition. I see them as an opportunity to collaborate, because there may be one or more services that my team and I offer that they don't, or that their team and I offer that we don't, and we can collaborate. We can cross-refer each other or possibly talk to each other. So I try not to compare, and I try to talk to my clients about doing that, because you are where you're at for whatever reason, and you need to focus on you and grow from there. We have a whole set of tools that we try to help business owners with too, like automation and funnels and different things like that. But what are some of the tools that you actually help your clients with?
Well, a big one is just the power of our mind. We oftentimes think that there's power outside of us. And all of those tools you just described, automation, technology, learning how to set up a funnel, all the marketing strategy, all of the business growth strategy, it's critical, right? Like that's the, I call that's the, like if you're the car, if your mind is the engine and you're the car, that's the road you have to travel, right? And so your road, the clearer it is, the straighter it is, the faster you go. But what happens is if our mindset, which is the engine, isn't at a high enough rate, if it's constantly kind of sputtering along because we're not fueling it properly, then you're going to not be able to go very fast down that path. And so some of the tools is really understanding the power of a belief. And I'll give you an example. And I really, it's funny, like I've worked with so many different kinds of business owners and entrepreneurs, and some people are like, I don't know, beliefs. It's like, what is that? How could that really affect me? Well, here's why. A belief is something that you believe is possible. And so if you really think about it, you look at what you believe is possible about money or success, you will find that you either believe it's unlimited or that it's limited. You will believe that it's hard to make money or it's easy to make money. Some people even have beliefs that it's wrong to have wealth. Literally, some people really believe that it's not spiritual, or it's not. Some people have these moralistic codes about being able to have more than someone else that they appreciate in their life. So there's all of these interesting beliefs that get wrapped up in our mind that cause us to form certain thoughts, and those thoughts actually create a physical and emotional reaction in us, and that becomes the catalyst for whether we take action on something or not. So let's paint this out for a minute. Let's say you, on one level, think, I want to be able to have $1 million business. I want to be able to have financial security, and I want to be able to have abundance. But let's say somewhere deep down inside you have this belief that you're actually going to have to sacrifice your time freedom to get there. And you have this conflict about creating more wealth because you're kind of panicky that you would actually have to lose something important to you. You will then have this dance with actually taking action, and you won't do the things that you know you should. And that's where procrastination and fear and, staying in our comfort zone come from, is we kind of lock ourselves into these paradigms of safety because we're afraid we're going to lose something important. So there's other reasons why as well, but that's one of the biggies is I'm afraid I'll lose this if I go for that, and I don't want to lose my freedom, or I don't want to lose my family, or I don't want to lose respect, or I don't want to fail at something, and that causes us to put the brakes on. And oftentimes people don't even know they're doing it. They just can't figure out why. I know I can do this. Why am I not really going for it? It's all kind of woven into, the subconscious behavior patterns.
I'm sitting here saying, wow, I feel like I'm listening to Jim Rohns or Les Brown or Tony Robbins, because you're right. I mean, you're 100% right. I listen to one of those or more every morning. The first 20 minutes I get up, I try to listen to at least 10 to 15 minutes of Jim Rohns, Les Brown, or Tony Robbins. But I think you're so right. People have so many limiting beliefs. That's what we call them, like limiting beliefs, and they will prevent you because you self-sabotage or whatever else, clinical terms people will throw at it. But yeah, if people's mindset is that having money is bad, or they think they're going to lose family time, and there will be some sacrifice to achieve what you want to achieve. I mean, that's the way it is. But that's why you're an entrepreneur and you're not a W-2 employee. You know what I mean? If you want 100% stability and no 9 to 5 and nothing after that, you just, as soon as you walk out the building, poof, now you're just totally in another zone. Because I know me as an entrepreneur, it almost never ends. So so that's huge. And so how do you help people? I mean, what you're talking about is so fundamental, and it's so core. I mean, you're really getting to people's core beliefs and mental and emotional things that could prevent them from achieving even greater success. So when someone comes to you, how do they even start that process? First, I mean, how do they even realize that they might have one or more of these beliefs, and what would be one of the ways that they could start?
Well, there's a couple very simple ways, and that is just starting to understand how certain behaviors and results are not going to get you what you want. And so I have a podcast where I teach a lot of these insights, and I give a lot of strategies, and I interview a lot of people there as well. It's called Amplify Your Success. And I did an episode on the top 10 fears that are basically holding you back in business. And it was one of the most popular episodes. It's been shared like a gazillion times on social media. But that one is a great place to start, because you'll start to get insights that you may have been missing out on. I also have a book called Reward for Wealth that's very helpful. But I think knowledge alone isn't always what causes us to change. Because if knowledge was going to do it, then all the books that we could read in the library or get off Amazon, we would all be super beings. So I have a program called Money DNA Mastery, and a lot of it is starting to literally rewire the connection between your thought and your result, and realize that if you want certain levels of results, you have to change your thinking. I was just rereading Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule, and one of the first things he says in the book is, if you want higher levels of results, you're going to need drastically different thinking than what you did to get here. So, and I think that was one of my own big ahas, Ron, is early on in my career, all I wanted to do is break six figures. And I kept thinking, I want to break six figures. I want to be able to create more revenue. I want to be able to hit this financial goal. I wanted financial safety and security. But what I realized is that my thinking was trained to be an employee, because I came out of the corporate world. And that, as you were just saying a little bit ago, that is a very different thought process. It's a very different paradigm than being an entrepreneur. And I had to retrain my brain to succeed as an entrepreneur and make friends with things like marketing, because I came into it feeling like I didn't really want to market myself. I had to really learn how to love selling and enrolling people. And when you do that, what happens is you actually show up differently in front of people. And you take actions that you used to procrastinate and hate, because all of a sudden you are on fire to do it instead of resisting it and judging it and struggling to pull off that task that you may or may not want to do. And so this is a big part of what I'm helping my clients do, is actually create the mindset of the person who can pull off the level of success you're shooting for. So I might be working with someone to break 6 figures for the first time, doing what they're passionate about, or I might be working with someone who's transitioning into 7 figures, and they literally need to start adopting the CEO mindset, whereas they've been trapped in the entrepreneur doer. So there's a different mindset for every stage of our business growth and what we want to achieve next.
I love it. And Grant Cardone, he's huge. But going back to the different stages, there's another great book by Michael Gerber, The E-Myth. The
E-Myth Revisited, yeah.
Yeah, the E-Myth Revisited. And he talks about the different stages as well, and how people, and if you're stuck in your business, then you're not working on your business. But also, Grant Cardone and several other people, I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you're trying to level up, whatever got you to 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever thinking and plans and actions and whatever you did to get to that point is going to have to change if you want to 3 or 4 or 5 or 10x whatever your income is, or the amount of people you serve. So you're 100% right, and I love that. And did you go to his 10x in March of last year?
I did not. No. I see. Here's what's really interesting about the way I work is I'm a little bit different. I'm actually a trained and certified coach. So one of the things that I find myself doing is I like learning all the principles. I like staying current with what people are doing, but I'm very much a believer that the highest level of performance is already inside of each individual person. And as a coach, it's my job to pull that out of them. So that means it's never going to follow cookie cutter. It's never going to follow one proven formula. I have to figure out what works for that person. So I kind of have a really different approach than a lot of other people. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have systems and formulas that I can help people tap into, but I find one of the biggest reasons why people don't achieve their full potential is because they start to lose themselves because they're trying to be somebody else. And so I tend to not go to a lot of guru events and things like that because I never want to try to emulate what other people are doing. I have to find, what's needing to come through me and put that onto rocket boosters and get that out in the biggest way possible.
Nice. So, and that's kind of because when I go to events, I don't necessarily look to them to duplicate them, but just to take whatever it is from them that they found that helped them, and then try to incorporate it to see if it has value or not. But he has another one coming up in February, and it's like a 3-day event, and there's some people who have had tremendous success, including their with the mental and emotional and overcoming things. So it might be good to check out, and I'll probably be going too. I probably travel cross country to different events at least once a month. Most of the time I'm speaking at them on internet marketing, but a lot of times I'll go and just take in the info and see what is different, what is new, and just see what works for me, what I can incorporate. But excellent. Now, if somebody is, let's say they're just starting out, and then somebody who's had some success but wants to level up, and then if we have time, we can go to the 3rd level with somebody who's already, let's say success is 7 figures, and they're making that, and they want to, maybe get to 10. So what could be, what would be 3 tips that you could give somebody just starting out?
Well, I think the very first thing is that you have to be somebody who's willing to do whatever it takes. And I think in the beginning, one of the things that people, they kind of get distracted by a lot of bright, shiny objects. I am a huge fan of the one thing. Find the one thing, hire a mentor to help you make sure you know how to position it well in the marketplace, that your offer is aligned with your ideal client, and that you can market it and sell it. I actually have a client who just came on board, and one of the things that was her struggle was she has had her business for 4 years, but it's never really started producing an income. And when we dug into it, we realized that she had a great offer, but it was not necessarily aligned with her ideal audience. So her ideal audience was rejecting it and saying it was too expensive. And those are the kinds of things you have to really nail down in that first year, is the offer that matches the audience and that they'll be hungry for, and that it's easy to sell to them because they want it and it solves a problem they've been struggling with. And that means in the mindset, you really have to be open. You cannot be attached to something the way you thought it was supposed to work. And I think a lot of people get overly attached to things in that beginning phase because, they see it as like their baby and this thing that they created. Well, I'm always a fan of let's figure out how to make money, and then, then you can look at how is it that I want to bring more of my thing that I want fulfilled out in the world. So that's stage number one. It's like make money, figure out how to make your business make money. And then phase two is all about the fine-tuning. So once you've learned to make money, it's not about doing more work. It's not about like having to work more hours. It's how can I take what I made and make it perform better? And a lot of people mix up there and they think, okay, I just need to keep doing more. And what happens is you spread yourself so thin that nothing is actually optimized. And that means that you're working 10 times harder than you need to produce results. And so stage two, in my mind, is very much about optimizing, streamlining, and leveraging. You know it makes money, so now you've got to figure out how do I make it perform better in the niche? How can I sell more? How can I make my offer stronger? How can I do a better job of my sales process? And it's also, that's where the leverage comes in. That's where I start helping my clients build teams and or hire a virtual assistant or someone to help them accomplish more without them having to do the work. Because hopefully by that point you've got some profitability in the business. So those are the two major distinctions. And really the mindset each stage is you have to know that your role is changing. So your role is probably doing almost everything yourself in the beginning. Well, then you have to start learning to let go in stage two, or else your business will stay small because you have to do all the work.
I love it. And just so the listeners know, this episode and all these gems of tips and methods will be archived both on my website, rcstechnologysolutions.com, and the radio station's website, 980wcap.com. So if you were unable to write those things down, or you want to listen to this episode and all other episodes you have that opportunity. And I really like, at least in the beginning, where you told people that you stay hard on where you want to go, but flexible on how you actually get there. I think
perfect. Well said.
Yeah.
You must be in marketing.
Yeah. And but so your goal is hard set, but you got to be flexible, because if you're so focused on this is what I have to do to be successful, then you're going to miss a lot of things that come along the way because you're not fluid enough. So your end result is what has to be ironclad, but be a little more fluid on the way you get there. All right, so we have just under 3 minutes. I want you to give out all your contact information, and if you have a free opt-in or something for people that they can maybe get some tips or an ebook or something.
Sure. Well, obviously, MelanieBenson.com is our hub. That's where you can always find anything you're looking for about us and me and the work. The best gift I know that ties exactly into what we're talking about today is my Rewired for Wealth book. I'd love to share it with you. I talk a lot about what I learned around mindset and some of the practical pieces of recalibrating your thoughts so that you can perform better. And, these are the same things that a lot of the sports celebrities do as well. They're constantly working the inside game so that the outside game can increase as well. And I'd love to have you come and join us on the Amplify Your Success podcast. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher Radio, Google Play, iHeart. This is where a lot of the great nuggets come out, as well as awesome conversations with thought leaders and people doing big work in the world. So those are some of the great places. And I'm all over social media. Just search for Melanie Benson, and you'll find me.
Excellent. And soon I will probably be on your podcast. Hint, hint, hint.
We'll definitely look at that.
Yeah, you said all the world, experts and leaders. So, but anyhow, yeah. So, this has been some great tips, some great advice, and I agree with you. Not everybody, and this is not a bad thing, and it's not necessarily a good thing, but not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. I mean, the definition of entrepreneur in and of itself is the ability to withstand risk, and some people are that's just not where they're at, and that's not to say that they're better or worse than anybody else, but if you're going to be an entrepreneur, just make sure that that is where you want to go, and when you're ready to start taking those steps, you're going to have trials and tribulations, and reaching out to someone like you is great, because it can help them understand that it's not in isolation, that most, if not all, other business owners have had the same or similar events or thoughts or feelings, and then you can help guide them through it, and cut through the learning curve, but also they might quit. So it's a blessing to have a mentor or a coach. So I highly recommend people search you out and check out your offerings.
Thank you. Well, if you can make your path shorter and you can make less mistakes, your confidence grows. And one of the best ways to do that is have a mentor or coach or some kind of support to help you, navigate those rough waters and get there faster.
Absolutely, and I've always told people, if you're spending $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 on a coach or a system, or whether it's internet marketing or something, and then over the next 3 years, the skills you learned earned you, 100,000, 200, 300,000, because you got more customers or clients, and your life was mentally and emotionally happy and more stable. Did you really spend that 5,000, or did you make 250,000 or 245? Right? So it's a small price to pay in the long run.
Yeah, it's an investment in your future success. That's the way my clients have always looked at it, and I think that's what we do every day. We make investments of our time, we make investments of our money, and we have to ask ourselves, am I investing in something that's doubling, tripling, and quadrupling, or 10xing my results? And that's when you know you're working a program that's good for you.
Excellent. And again, I want to thank you, listeners. You've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients using various internet marketing techniques and methods.